Robert, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm all right.
Gregg Allman, you're a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You're coming to Indianapolis Farm Bureau Insurance Lawn, July 20th, along with Peter Frampton.
That's right.
Have you known Peter for a long time?
I have. He's a good old bud.
I imagine these dates will be a lot of fun. I've read some things that you're extremely pleased with this band that you've got with you as well.
Oh, yeah. It took me 7 years to put them together.
Is that right?
Yeah, I started around about the 40th anniversary of the Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And during the 5 more years that I played with the Brothers, I tweaked them all out and got them all ready to go. So I went on tour pretty soon after the Brothers broke up.
I imagine when you put a band together, one of the steps is obviously you have to find talented people, but then, trying to get them to come together to actually play as a band has to be a whole other challenge and process that you guys have to go through.
It is, but what I did was I got one of the horn players.
Mm-hmm.
He introduced me to a guitar player, and the 3 of us found number 4, and the 4 of us found number 5.
Right. Okay, so you just started adding pieces as you went along. That's
Well, no, I know what I wanted. I wanted a 9-piece band,
Okay.
And I wanted just one set of drums and a percussionist. And when I finally got Mark Quinones to come with me, he laid a fire in the band.
Right.
He keeps that edge on it,
Yeah. How many horns do you have with you?
3.
3. I love the sound of horns.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Baritone, tenor, and a trumpet.
Yeah, all that's it's always fun when you get to a show or someplace or even just listening to a record and you hear those horns kick in. It always brings it to another level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
any songs that I wrote while I was in the Allman Brothers that the Allman Brothers played, we play some of them too.
Okay.
Only they're usually rearranged.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, we got to put the horns in there.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I guess you got to find something for those horns to do while they're up there, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. It's fun to go out and, it's nice when you go to a concert and you hear the songs and it sounds like it does on the record. But there's also kind of fun when you go out and you hear a few of the songs maybe with a different twist on them or something, too. I enjoy that.
Yeah, we try to do that every night.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah, that's a cool thing to get into there.
Some people, I won't mention any names, but some bands go up and do it just verbatim.
Right, right.
Same songs in the same order,
right.
Tell the same sick-ass joke.
Yeah, I know a few bands like that I've seen a number of times over the years. I don't really want to call anybody out either, but
You're right.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can tell you the Allman Brothers never did that, and I imagine you don't either.
No, sir, no.
You wrote a book about your life, and I'm fascinated by this thing because I think your life has it's an amazing thing. You have reached probably the highest highs that a person can reach in their life, and also the lowest lows that I think a person can reach. And sometimes they happen at seemingly the same time. When you were putting that book together, did you find, was sort of looking back on things, was there more joy in that experience for you, or was it more painful?
It was more joy.
Oh, good.
When I think about the past, well, see, that wasn't supposed to be a book anyway. That was my journal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I had, I guess about the time that we started making some success, which was like right after my brother passed away. It just started raining money,
Right.
I was so disillusioned. It was such a sweet, sour thing, man. It was just terrible.
Right.
And I was, I was angry. I was angry at him for leaving. I was angry at God for taking him. I was angry because I was angry at God. I was angry at me.
Right, sure.
I was just flat angry.
Right.
That's probably why I went through that long period of drinking. But it's now been 21 years this November.
Oh, wow. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
smoke a little weed, not really what I call, losing your sobriety. A lot of people, when they go to AA, they get the robes on. I'm not talking AA down at all.
Right.
Some people could not exist without it, and God bless them all.
Right, sure. Whatever works for people, right?
You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
I was talking once to Waylon Jennings, and he said, it's not right. we were talking about it, and I said, man, I don't go to those meetings. I can't go. I've got enough skeletons in my closet, and I've got enough bad, terrible stories of my own without hearing another drunkalog,
Right, sure.
So, because booze was, I guess that was my drug of choice. Waylon said, man, all you need is, he says, me and Johnny Cash get together with a pot of coffee, you got an AA meeting.
I'll tell you what, that's a table that I bet would have been really interesting to sit around. You got Gregg Allman, you got Johnny Cash, and Waylon Jennings and a pot of coffee. I don't think you need anything else in life. That sounds pretty fantastic. Now, you mentioned your sobriety. Is it true that you decided you had to stop drinking after watching your Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction speech?
This is true. Back in '95, yeah.
Okay, that's.
I saw a film of it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I was so disgusted with myself. I went, man, this is not part of the play. Just like I did when I got drafted.
Right.
I said, wait a minute, this ain't. I ain't going over there across the water to kill a bunch of folks I don't even know.
Right. Now you got out of that by shooting yourself in the foot, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. Now, did you actually pull the trigger, or did somebody else have to do it for you?
Oh, I did it myself.
Oh, boy, that's tough.
I hit the bullseye, too. Dead center. And was with a Saturday night special, so, I mean, the damn gun felt like it was going to fall apart. You could just rattle it, and all the pieces.
Oh, man, you're a much tougher fellow than I, that's for certain.
Well, it only hurt for, like, as quick as a thought.
Oh, really?
And then it numbed all the way up to my waist. And we just kind of chuckled on the way down to the hospital. As soon as I got there, they hit me in the arm with some morphine. And, oh, God, we've been drinking all day and took some speed. By the time, and we left the hospital and went to the induction center in Jacksonville, because that's, it's about 100 miles from Daytona Beach.
Right.
Maybe not that, really. And I got up there, and he said, boy, what happened to you? Because, we got to the doctor, and he says, he didn't say anything about the target on my shoe. And I tried to get my brother to take his shoe off. I said, man, somebody's going to think something's up here. So he couldn't get it off, right? It hurt too bad. And so he says, don't worry, leave it to me. So he leaves, and he comes back, and he has one red and one black. See, back then we didn't have Sharpie pencils.
Right.
He went and got two flares, right?
Uh-huh.
And he drew one on the other foot, right? I said, oh, that's just beautiful.
That's a great story.
Well, we were so blitzed, man. I mean.
That's fantastic. You were the first one of the Allman Brothers to sort of branch out and do your own solo album, right?
I was.
Yeah. Did that cause a lot of problems within the band? Were the other guys like, hey, what are you doing?
No.
Everything was okay with that? That's cool.
Well, if they did, they kept it to themselves.
Okay. That's a good thing.
I can't say as I've ever heard any of them, except for J-Mo, say anything about any song on my first record, which is still my little baby. Is my first.
Yeah, it did.
Which, by the way, I've got one in the can that we just cut at Muscle Shoals.
Oh yes, yeah.
Alabama, that comes out in January.
It's got that great old Muscle Shoals sound to it, I hope.
Oh, you better know it, Doug.
Yeah.
We did it all analog.
Oh, good. Yeah, there's something about that analog sound, right? I take it you don't seem like the kind of guy who likes to put it into the computer and cut it all up and overdub and all that.
It's great if you can find some tape. We had 6 rolls to do a whole record with.
Yeah, I guess that would be a problem these days, wouldn't it?
You get like one take on per roll.
Yeah.
But we'd have to bounce it back over to digital after we captured the ambience of the room.
That's cool. What does the record have a name yet?
Southern Blood.
Southern Blood. All right. Well, we'll be looking for. You said it'll be out in January.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are they all original songs, or are there some covers thrown in there?
There's some original originals and some covers too.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah, you guys, the Allman Brothers always did a lot of great cover songs. You take old blues songs and really put your own spin on them so they would sound like, they still had that traditional blues sound, but they also sounded very much like the Allman Brothers. And I was kind of looking around, and I noticed there have been, quite a few covers of Allman Brothers band songs, too. Do you have any of those that maybe are your favorites?
I tell you that, what's her name, Sharon Jones?
Right, yeah, Sharon Jones.
Did that Lincoln commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Man, she's incredible.
Yeah, she's the real deal, isn't she?
She really is. She's a modern-day Aretha.
Right, yeah. That's a excellent comparison, actually. I hadn't thought of her in those terms, but yeah, I think you're right.
Coco Taylor or something.
Oh, yeah, Coco Taylor. Oh.
She was good.
She was.
I love that girl.
I was lucky enough to see her perform just a couple of times, but wow, she brought it both nights.
She got down, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She knew what it was about. Is there anybody out there that you haven't played with yet that you'd really like to?
Yes, a couple of them I've never met.
Oh, well, I would have thought you'd have met everybody by now.
Bob Seger's one.
Are there any new sort of younger artists that you're listening to at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who are you digging right now?
Well, Sam Smith.
Oh, yeah.
I really dig him.
Yeah, he's got a great voice, doesn't he?
And Tedeschi Trucks Band is killer, man.
Right, yeah, they've got a lot of really good stuff as well.
They do.
Yeah.
He went the same route I did, except he's got singers.
Right.
He's got a little more overhead than I do.
You took like an orchestra out with you on your first tour in support of Laid Back, didn't you?
Yeah, 28 pieces I had.
Yeah, the cost on that had to be ridiculous. How'd you make any money on that tour?
Well, we made a record with it,
Oh, yeah, okay.
And we cut it at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
And what we did was they told them I was a flamenco guitarist.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and they didn't find out different until like 2 days before the show, and so they couldn't cancel on us.
Right, yeah, too late now.
But I mean, listen, this place was built for the spoken word, that Carnegie Hall is. You put a Fender amp in there, brother, you got problems. It took us 2 days to get a sound check, man.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would be a problem, all those acoustics and everything.
I mean, the biggest amp we used was probably as big as the one that runs your TV.
And while we're touching on Laid Back real quick, just a side note, I love that painting that's the album cover, by the way. I don't know where you got that or if you have the original still or not, but it's a fantastic picture of your painting.
That's Abdul Mati Clairwine. He's an Israeli. He did Bitches Brew and Abraxas.
Uh-huh.
And he did a couple of them for Miles Davis.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's a really cool painting. That's pretty cool. So as you're moving forward, is there any talk of maybe getting the Allman Brothers back together at any point, or was the 40th and then the final show? That's it. That's the final one.
45th.
45th. Yeah. Sorry.
If it comes about, you'll hear about it.
Right. Okay. All right.
Won't happen this year, though.
No, not this year. No, you got your own stuff going on. That's pretty cool. You've also got these laid back festivals that you're doing around. These sound like a good time.
Yeah. This year I have 5. Next year there'll be 7.
Oh, wow. You're going to do 7 of them, huh? Next year?
Yeah, we got New York, Nashville, Chicago, Atlanta, Red Rocks, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5 there, right?
All right, yeah, I think so.
And next year, I think we'll have Tampa and Miami, and also Portland.
There seems to be a real big focus not only on the music there, but also the food. Are you a big food guy?
Well, that was. I just said, look, guys, we got to do something different.
Right.
To pull these people. I mean, to make my festivals. A little bit different than everybody else's.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Because you've got, there are festivals popping up all over the place. You got to have a different angle on it, I guess, these days, don't you?
Well, you got to have plenty of vendors. You got to have a lot of other stuff to do. to keep people sitting in 111-degree sun, you know. Well, no, that's kind of an exaggeration, but you know, not that they were going to be bored by the music or anything like that, but you have to have plenty of refreshments.
Right, sure.
You got to have some shade if they want to go in the shade. You know, different all array of things to eat, man. And if you buy the VIP tickets, you can taste anything you want.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
And like we do one in New York at, well, it used to be Jones Beach is what they called it. And it's where all the New York people go to the beach.
Right.
And it's on Long Island. It's in Wantagh, New York, actually. And it's now called the Nikon Beach Theater. But it's really neat, man. It's just right.
Right.
Waves are breaking behind you. And, you know.
Yeah, that sounds nice. You had a pretty public breakup with Dickie Betts. Has there been any reconciliation there at all? Have you guys spoken?
A little bit.
Yeah.
You know, neither one of us are one to just sit around and chat. You know.
Right. Sure.
But no, there's no hard feelings.
Okay, well that's good to know. I mean, you know, I don't, I didn't expect you to say you guys were going to be performing tomorrow night someplace together, but it is nice to hear that after all you guys have been through for all the time, that you were able to finally maybe put some of that aside and at least not have hard feelings towards one another after it was all said and done.
No, there's no future in that. You know, life's too short to bear.
Right, exactly. You dabbled just a little bit in acting. Do you mind if I touch on that just a little bit?
Oh, sure.
I stumbled across something that I found extraordinarily fascinating the other night. I'm a big fan of William Friedkin and all his movies.
Right.
And you were in an episode of Tales from the Crypt that he directed.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
The one about the tattoo eating the
Yeah,
guy?
yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
With the band. Yeah, you were like the club owner or whatever you played in that thing.
Well, you see, when you die, you either go to heaven or hell, or, worst of all, you come back as a club owner. That's terrible. That's just a joke, man, amongst musicians.
Yeah, I'm sure you've had some interesting run-ins with those guys in the past as well. But
well, especially in the beginning when we were, you know, playing the Chitlin circuit.
Right, sure, yeah. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. I just came across that, and I was like, this has got Gregg Allman in it. And it's directed by William Friedkin, and it's this weird episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Right.
But I would imagine you're probably most noted for your acting in Rush. Was that something that you just, acting as a whole, is that something you just wanted to try? Or
It's something I just wanted to try. And, you know, with music, you have, like, different road signs, if you will, or landmarks to tell you where you are lyric-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, just reading the page and then walking 3 steps over to the camera and repeating what you just read, man, that's, believe it or not, not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Right, yeah.
Of course, I'm sure, you know, people who do it, they read the script all the way through 4 or 5 times.
Right.
And some people just wing it. You know?
Sure, yeah.
The real good ones do that. They know what the story's about, and they basically know what they're supposed to say, and they say it. I mean, all of a sudden, they become that person.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure I did that, but I did play a bad boy.